Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay. Usual drill, guys. If you are watching via Facebook, can you let us know that you can see and hear us okay? If you are watching via YouTube, can you let us know that you can see us okay? I can see that Hayden's already joined in via YouTube. Let's say, let's go indeed. So just let us know if we're coming through, with sound and picture and everything like that. I'm just going to log into the comments, but just before I do that, because I always forget to do that, I just literally start talking straight away. Looks like we're live on Facebook, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we are. So, guys, very special. Never mind the buy box this afternoon. We are joined by our very special guest, Zaheer. Afternoon, Zaheer. How are you?
And you okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you. This is going to be a really great Never Mind the Buy box, and so thank you first and foremost for taking time out of your busy schedule, because you guys, as Zaheer talks about his story and their business more, you will see that it definitely has got a very busy schedule. So we're really grateful for you taking the time. And it's interesting, we were having this chat beforehand, weren't we, about about appearing on Nevermind the Buy box. So, guys, if anyone out there likes to hear, wants to come and tell their story, and for you, it was very much like a giving back thing. You haven't got anything to sell. You're not trying to sell anything or anything like that whatsoever. But just for you, it's a case of, you said to me earlier that you kind of learn a lot from these type of things, and it's helped your business in areas, and you just want to give a little bit of something back, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I've been watching you guys for a couple of years now. I've probably every episode you can always learn something new, and it's always interesting because you don't with our industries. It's like and our work with when you're the owner and the top person with doing it, you sometimes miss little things that are going on everywhere. And when you hear somebody else say something, it's always good to hear that and think, oh, I didn't know that. So I've taken a lot of pointers from your shows and stuff like that, and it was just the sort of thing that I thought to myself, that even out of all the viewers that you have, even if one person goes away with something new, then it's worth it for somebody else. So if I'm learning from the community, then it's nice to give back to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's 100% it, because obviously, we have nearly over 30 people watching us live now, which will increase over the next hour anyway as well. But then it's all the hundreds of people that will watch this video maybe in the future. And like I said, it's just that one tiny thing that you might say that somebody may pick up that may genuinely change the course of their business or change the direction of your business. And like we talked about earlier, every day is a learning day. Every day is a school day in this business. I don't know anyone that considers themselves to be a reasonably successful seller that would ever put themselves in a position that said, yeah, I'm done learning. I don't need to know anything new. You put yourself in that position, you may as well give up, guys. That's
100%. I always say, and I try and install this into my children as well, that never think you know everything. You never know everything, and even every day you can learn, and as successful as you can be. My father's always taught me that as well, that don't think you know everything.
No.
There is always somebody who will know something that you don't, and what he knows might be able to assist you to get better at what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. What is it that they say? Never aspire to be the smartest person in the room. Because there's always people to be able to learn from. But before we get started, thank you guys, whoever let us know. I can't see it on Facebook. Oh, it was Sean. Welcome, Sean. Thanks for joining. Can see and hear us, which is good. I'm assuming that people on YouTube can see and hear us, because someone would have said something by now if they haven't. Daniel says,
I've had a few people say hi from YouTube, it looks like. So
yeah, we've got Jeff, we've got Jay, Paul, the podcast editing guy. I love the names on YouTube. It's something always a bit different. Hayden from FBA TV's joined us as well. Alexander just saying hello to people. Hi, Chris. Hi, Mark. Just seeing that's it. So yeah, drop us a like, a love, an angry face, whatever. Say hi, join in on the conversation. Any questions as we're going along? Thank you, SM. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know who it is beyond your initials, unfortunately, for confirming that. So join in the conversation as we go along, and we're gonna sort of talk about Zaheer, your business, how you got started. And like I said, you know, you've been part of the Amazon communities for some time. Hi everyone, those that are joining us. Yeah, so just give us a like, a love. Noreen's joined us as well. So let's get started, because we've got a lot to get through, because you know, oh, actually quickly before we do, the reason why Zaheer is here, and the subsequent weeks that we've got in we're running up to Christmas actually, is we are having these episodes where we are interviewing, talking through, you know, successful sellers, 7-figure sellers, sellers that are selling for their full-time, you know, full-time entrepreneurs. Because the reason why, and I was talking to Zaheer earlier, saying this, and you know, we agreed on this, is that a lot of Facebook communities, Facebook groups, Discords, TikToks, or whatever, when people first enter into the world of Amazon, you know, most people enter it from like a side hustle point of view, you know, extra living expenses, extra earnings, something like that. And part of the reason why Matthew Wright and I originally set this group up, and then when Johnny coming on at a later stage, was to kind of sort of take that and help people and give people that next step up to full-time entrepreneurship, running a full-time e-com business. Because there is this kind of gray area where sometimes people, and we talked about this here, where you'll say to people, I'm an Amazon seller, and they have these visions of you like being, you know, selling a few bits here or there on eBay, right?
A Dell boy in a
Yeah,
way, right? So
exactly.
yeah. So so basically when we even started, you know, it's you've got a fine line between wanting to do it as your main job and as a side seller. That
Mhm.
you know, but and I was saying to you, Natalie, earlier on, that the movement from one to the other isn't huge. The
Yeah.
line difference isn't massive. It's just that you've got to have dedication to it. And yeah, for far from it is it a side thing. You know, for me myself, most nights I'm awake till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, talking to international, where we import stuff and stuff like that. Replying to customers, because customer queries, you know, we try to do a lot in-house in terms of as much as we can. So these things take time, and it's definitely not a side hustle. Don't get me wrong, if you had a really, really good job and you wanted to do a side hustle, this is a brilliant way to
Oh,
start.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. Not
absolutely.
taking anything away from that.
Yeah, and let's not all forget, everybody starts off small anyway.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, it would be a side hustle in terms of you thingy, and when you feel like you've got enough belief in yourself, that's the most important thing. Have belief in yourself that you can do it, because everything is here, all the tools are there to make it work, but you need to have the belief in yourself that you can do it. And if you believe that, then you can, you know, the sky's the limit. There is no glass ceiling for you. You can do, you know, and it'll just accumulate, and you'll see yourself, you know, from how you'll start off as a small business, and you'll keep on growing. Myself, the earliest sort of time I would say that we started was around about 2000.
Mhm.
At that time, we signed up to eBay. Started very, very early. I used to sell, you know, when you were like 14, 15, mess around a bit and bits and bobs. But I went more into it when I went to university. So I went to Manchester University, and I started, you know, picking up some stuff from some wholesalers in Manchester and stuff like that, and selling them things on eBay. And we'd have like me and my 4 friends, which I actually class as my brothers now. So they all used to help me pack the stuff, and we used to pack it at night, and we'd post it in the morning, you know, and they were, you know, they would never ask for anything for it. We were just one family doing it together.
Amazing.
And stuff like that, which was lovely. And as that's grown from eBay over time, we've then thought to ourselves, okay, where can we go? Because at the time when eBay was really big in the 2000s, Amazon was still a massive bookseller, you know,
Yeah.
so Amazon hadn't evolved to what it is now as the biggest in the world. So then around about 2013, we decided, which would probably been a bit late to the show, but in between, you get married, have children,
Yeah.
etc. Life takes over. I was helping out in the family business, so I was there full time. And then whilst I was at my dad's business, we had a conversation about moving into a different avenue, because coming from an Asian background, we had like a shop, a news
Okay.
agent. So I would be there, but my dad always said to me that he would feel that he wouldn't have succeeded in life if, when he left, if I was still in the shop, because
Right.
he felt
Okay.
like he took it to a level and I'd have to take it to the next level after that.
Right.
So he's always said that he never wanted me to stay in the shop. That's not what he saw for me. And he would be very unhappy in himself if he saw me still in the shop
Yeah.
when he got older. So we
What an
then,
amazing dad. What an
yeah,
amazing dad.
honestly, he's been such a success. He came, in I believe around about 1959, with just him, his elder brother, and his father, all of his family back in Pakistan, and they worked. And he used to tell me he used to clean trains, clean the rail tracks, and drive taxis, buses. And now he's one of the most successful businessmen in Bradford, in West
Wow.
Yorkshire. So it's been a bright success story for him, and an amazing mentor for me to learn from.
Wow.
But I've always understood that what he wants me to do is whatever he achieved, he wants me to hold all that as a backing for me, which he always has done, and elevate me to another level, which I can take it to. But then obviously, then around about 2013, 2014, he said to me that, okay, look, you started this online side with Amazon. It seems like there's some scope here for you. Why don't you try it? Leave the store, go see if you can do something. We decided to stay in the store, but use half of the store as the warehouse downstairs. So we got that a bit better. Got moved that on a bit more, and then we just moved to our first little. Then we decided that we would save costs by moving everything to the house. So we moved everything to the house, took over the garage, set up the whole thing in the garage. Like an awful inventory system of just, there was no inventory system. You would get
It
the
was
order,
like looking
walk
at the
around the
shelf.
whole of the garage trying to find one item, right? And you go through all these boxes trying to find stuff. It was horrendous. And then it got to a point where my missus Zoe, she said to me, she goes, "This is enough now. We're not having this at home. I can't." I think it got to the point where she came into the kitchen and the whole of the kitchen was full of boxes, and she was like, "I can't do this. You've got to get us somewhere." So then we moved into a small office, and then from there, from the small office, then we moved to another warehouse, which is about 3,000 square foot. And then May this year, we moved to another one, because when we first took over a warehouse in terms of leasing it, we thought to ourselves, well, it's a new cost, it's a new expense.
Yeah.
It's really worrying to think to yourself, okay, this is a big step from me, because if it's in your house, it's not costing you anything, right? And I always thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go to this warehouse now, so we actually have to make some serious money so we can pay the warehouse off. So we thought we'd go for a top floor warehouse, and because it'd be cheaper, and we did that. And then we took another section of the top floor from which was empty a few years later, and we got to a really big level, and we got to a level where the deliveries were getting too large. And to take, let's say, 10-15 pallets, a delivery comes with 10-15 pallets worth of stock. To take all that up these flight of stairs every day, or let's say every 2 weeks, we have a delivery that big, then it got too much for the staff retention was a problem as well, then, because they just didn't want to stay, because they were just getting
Yeah.
too tired. It was too much for them. So now we moved to a ground floor warehouse, slightly smaller, not much smaller, but trust me, the staff look a lot happier, and I think that's very important. Keeping staff happy is massive. It's so big, it's so underestimated, underrated from people sometimes, that I always say to anybody who says, one of my cousins said to me once, who runs a really successful food company in Preston, and he said to me, he goes, "You have to pay them to make you money.
Yeah.
If you don't pay them properly, you're never going to make any money."
Yeah.
And you're always like, oh, I've got to give more wages, I've got to, but the truth is, if you pay them properly and you look after your staff really well, they will work for all time. They'll give you their all.
Yeah.
If they're on minimum wage all the time, or they're not getting any bonuses, or there's no benefits of the business, it just becomes like a mundane thing, doesn't it? That, oh yeah, but now I know that if I say to some of my staff, I say, look, we need to work an extra couple of 2 hours tonight, they won't question it. They won't,
Yeah, they're on board.
Yeah, they're on board.
Yeah.
And that's really important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to, Matt and I have always had that philosophy of, I've said this a million times, that over the years, I mean, we must have employed whether it's through directly or temporary staff or whatever, we've definitely employed somewhere upwards of a couple of hundred people over the years, and we've always had really high retention rates. People have always worked for us. If one business is finished and we've let people go through redundancy or whatever, as we did when we closed our distribution company, then the next business where it's time ready to come for staff, we can go to those people and say, look, do you want to come back? And generally they will always come back, because they know how we work, how we treat our staff. We make it a fun environment as well. There's never any seriousness, working or
that. Any of this office politics and stuff like that, we don't have any of that in our workplace. We'll have a laugh, we'll put the music on if they want to dance around, mess around. All I say to them, is just make sure the work is done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
we can all have fun, we can all have a laugh, crack jokes and whatsoever, but just make sure that if I've said that this needs to be done today, that it's done. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I seem to have made an error by leaving my window open while there's a big storm outside, so you can hear the door slamming to and from. So apologies if you can hear the background of the wind. We had thunder earlier when we were talking, so the weather's so changeable at the moment. God knows what we're going to have next. So just come back to a few different comments. Hayden said it was annoying about when we were talking about the Del Boy thing. Jeff says he's been on eBay for 19 years. I have a 6-figure store and I've been described as an honest Arthur Daly. It does. You kind of get that Del Boy, Arthur Daly kind of feel if you're doing any type of selling on the platform. And I always think that misconception is so I used to really justify it. I don't know if you had the same. So here, I used to really say to people, yeah, but it's not that. It could be this. Now I don't even bother, because I think, well, if you have that perception, I'm never going to be able to change your mind probably to anything else. You've kind of got to discover that yourself, because people think, oh, I sell on Amazon. Yeah, that kind of Del Boy kind of feel to it.
Yeah, people don't think it as a professional job, do they? They
No.
just don't see it. They don't see it as a professional job. I have a problem with my mum. Like my mum, like she just rings randomly, like 10, 11 o'clock during the day. Can you come and do this? Yeah. Can you come do that? And like, no, mum, I'm at work. And it's like, yeah, but you only sell online. You don't need to be there. Just come out. I need to go to the doctors. I need to go here. I need to go there. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I put the phone on and I think to myself, they don't actually think we're working.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's because if we're not working for somebody else, or we're not going to somewhere where there's a 9 o'clock start and a 5 o'clock finish, they actually think that you can just walk out whenever you want to. Well, will be okay.
Exactly. I had this with my brother, and he's not part of this Facebook group, so I can say it's fine.
I think my mom's watching, so I'll probably get some
Hi,
nice
Mom. Hi, Mom. But I had this with my brother actually when before my father passed away. He was unwell, and I had to take them to a lot of hospital appointments and things like that, which I more than happily, absolutely more than happily did. It's part of my job as their daughter. Essentially, you look after your parents. I always believe that. And there was one time I couldn't do it, and I asked my brother. My brother's got a very high level corporate job, and I couldn't do it because I was away or something like that. And I said to him, oh, could you take Dad? And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to take a day's holiday. I can't just get a couple of hours out. And he sort of said to me, he said, oh, can you make sure you can take him next time? Because obviously I've got to use holiday and I don't get paid if I have to take a day out. And I was like, hang on a sec. At least you get paid. If I take a day out to do it, I don't get paid.
No. Honestly, it's exactly the same. My brother and my sister, all appointments is either me or my wife, Zoe. That's it.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no options of them doing any appointments because they work. Well, my brother's self-employed as well, but
Yeah.
for some reason,
He doesn't do
he's
it.
because it's a store. It's a store. It's a shop, right?
Yeah.
It sells like replica military and stuff like that. So it's an
Oh,
outdoor
cool.
store. So because he's got a store, how can I leave my store to come and do
Yeah.
an appointment? You know, why can't you guys do it? I'm like you said, it's just a perspective of what people don't understand. How much work is involved in these
Yeah.
businesses. I think if people sit down with us, you know, even like for a day, and actually see what we do in a day, I don't think they'd really believe it. They wouldn't understand how much you actually have to do to run a successful online business. You know, it's not as simple as people think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe years ago when eBay was somewhat new, you know, you'd post something from home and throw it on, and you know the thing. But that's if you're selling one item, right?
Yeah.
We've got
Absolutely.
1,500 SKUs.
Yeah.
So, and to deal with 1,500 SKUs is not easy because you've got to
No.
replenish them. You've got to, you know, forward thinking, project the sales. You know, there's so much work involved behind that people don't know what goes on.
Oh, no, absolutely. And this is why, in particular, I've reached out to certain sellers, that I'm aware that have different types of businesses across the Amazon spectrum, in order to make that connection between, how do you take it from that side hustle kind of perspective into, that full-time hustle. I mean, you spoke about, obviously having that support network of your dad, your parents, growing up in an entrepreneurial family, that does help. But it's not the be all and end all. Just because you've been brought up in that, it can go the other way. People can be entitled and don't feel that they have to work for money or build their own thing or whatever. So what was that point, Zaheer, where your dad said, you go off and do this, you've got my full support? You made the transfer made the addition from eBay to Amazon. Where was the point when you thought, right, there's something here, and I need to be able to channel everything into building this business now? Was there a specific moment in time?
Yeah, I would probably say probably one of the first what I used to do was I used to go to like the trade fairs, you know, like you've got your autumn fair and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And in the earlier days, they were open to speaking to us as online retailers, as you know, and everybody who does this.
Yeah.
The doors are closed quite often once you say that I'm an eBay seller or I'm an Amazon seller. They're not interested because they've just been either, you know, bamboozled with price drops and stuff like that. But in the olden days, you didn't have as many declines, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. So I think I went to a show, and this is now what this would have been 10 years ago now, maybe, or 9 years ago, and there was these little fairy doors that were really big. I don't know if you remember. They were called the Irish Fairy Door Company or something. They were really big then. They don't sell at all now, but they were really big then. Went and spoke to them. Said to them, look, we could put this onto Amazon for you, and we can sell it on eBay. They weren't bothered about the eBay side, but they were really interested about being on Amazon, you know. So we took their product and we absolutely flew with it. And then and there, I decided, you know, that this is something which has legs in it.
Mhm.
But I knew then and there that it was going to be not as easy as it would be to make some money in a shop, let's say my father's
Yeah.
business. But I knew that I could scale it to a level where it would be able to make more.
Yeah.
But yeah, fine, make more, but would have to have a lot of hard work involved. I think over a Christmas we must have sold maybe 10,000 or 15,000 of these fairy doors in a small period of time. I then decided that, okay, well, you know, it kind of opened your mind of what the
Yeah.
scope is. Because with being in a store, you see the same people coming in every day,
Yeah.
you know them by their first name, and you don't have the scope of how big the market actually is on Amazon. you'll know yourself, there'll be some people who know that they can get it cheaper by going into Argos, but they really just don't want to go. They don't
No.
want to go in, they don't want to go into town, they don't want to park up, pay for parking and stuff like that. So once I saw that there was a scope there for me to come away from the business, which was one of the hardest decisions for me, and I guess for my dad as well, because he's built this thing, and to see me leave, but he knew that it was the better thing in the long run for me to do that. And now at the stage that I'm at now, I'm now telling him to close his company and come and sit with me now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I want him to do. I want him to now sell the business and just come chill at the warehouse with me, and just show him what we do, and he can get involved in this side of it. So I'm glad that I've got myself to a position where I can actually say to him, look, you come and close now. I'll look after you. The way you did with us. We're together. We're all one unit. We're one family. So we've all got to look after each other. So he's 72. He's got some mobility issues here and there. So I said to him, it's time now. You've done, you came here when you were 9. You're 72 now. There's got to be a time where you're going to stop working. This is the perfect time, that I would need some help as well. You can come and sit down, and he's really good with technology, so he would be able to learn stuff really fast. The scope kind of hit me then that there was a bigger world out there to explore.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We are by nature, as humans, I suppose, we think the world revolves around us and our bubble and what we can see and what we can touch. And it's only when you expose yourself to something like the selling platform. So by the way, guys, I didn't mention it. Zaheer sells across, he's a multi-platform seller, multi-7-figure seller across the different platforms: eBay, Etsy, Shopify. You've got your own Shopify, Amazon, OnBuy, which we'll talk about something interesting on OnBuy in a minute. So we were talking about that earlier. So you haven't just limited yourself. We won't go back over the old ground, but presumably you've done that for protection, growth of business, all of the usual reasons why somebody would diversify into those different platforms, into those different areas. But when you expose yourself to something like Amazon, we all have that moment, and ours was a very similar product, and I've talked about it previously, hot tub filters at the time, where you just see that, and we still have it now. That's what I'm so grateful for, and that's what I'm really fortunate for. I was telling Zaheer a story this morning about selling a product in the in the US. And 6-7 years in, you still have these wow moments. Sent 30 units of something in for a test just to see how the market would respond. Never sold this type of product in the US before. Sent 30 units in. All the product fortunately landed at once, and it sold out in 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole of the inventory sold out in 8 minutes.
And I had a product for COVID. So we had a personal health device. Now, we used to sell probably a couple a week, but it's related to breathing. It helps you breathe. So obviously, like all the hospitals were struggling with breathing equipments and stuff like that. And it was only like a £25 device. Suddenly, and like you say, with these little moments that you always will remember. For me, this happened so just only recent, a couple of years ago with COVID. Since then, I've not had a moment like that. But it was this device, and we 1,000 a week was selling, 1,000 a week, and it's like you think to yourself, like, those numbers would have never been possible in a store. It just wouldn't be possible. You're not only selling to your town, you are literally selling to the man at Land's End if you wanted to. You are from A to Z. You're trying to cover everywhere, every inch of space where somebody has a device, a PC, a phone, and wants to buy something. You are opening yourselves to all of them. And that's the way we need to see it, right? I would have never thought that I would be selling 1,000 of these a week. And now we don't sell any at all. It's gone really quick. And like you will know, Natalie, as well, this phases, isn't there, with products?
Absolutely.
And it's the people who don't know how to move on. It's the people that get left behind. They have one product, they sell 1,000 a week like me, and think to yourself, oh, I'm going to live on this product for the rest of my life. No chance. The product turnover and the new stuff that keeps coming out, you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. And one thing I'm learning massively as well is about stock that we hold. So we hold a lot of stock in our warehouse. Is the last year and a half we've been working on is clearing stock, dead stock. Even if you have to take a loss, it's better to get rid of it and reinvest that money into something that can make you money. Because I know I've got a few people that I know that have got massive warehouses, and they've got like 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 pound worth of stock just sat in their warehouses. And I'll say, well, when do you sell that? It's still not selling. And so isn't it better to try and get some of this 500,000 pounds out?
Yeah.
To put it into some new stock, then for it to sat on the shelf. Okay, say if it's 500,000, let's just say if you sold it all for 450,000 or 420, I know you've taken a massive loss, but you one thing in this business, which I always say, you don't get it right every deal. You just can't. I get offered, no lie, about 50 deals a day, and out of 50 deals a day, I might take one or two. Sometimes I take none. Because I think to myself, I don't have the funds right now. I'm going to buy them next week or the week after. Everything, because you have to forward thinking, right? That this bill is going to be paid, or this stock's coming. I need to pay them. So you can't just keep taking yes to all these deals, because your bank balance will just finish. Yeah. So you've got, and you've got to understand that when you get it wrong, you have to be humble enough to understand that you got it wrong.
Yeah.
I do it. Me and my wife, we tease each other. I'll say to her, oh, why did you buy them? And she said, oh, did we forget about the 500 of these that you bought? Do you get it? So do you know what I mean? So we have a laugh with each other about it. Yeah, I find it hurts, Natalie. It does hurt that you get it wrong. But like we said, nobody knows everything, right? You might think that something sells extremely well. You're gonna buy loads of it because your scope's right, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm gonna sell loads. Or on the other way, you buy loads, you sell absolutely loads of them, you go in for a second time, price tanks, and you're stuck with them, right? And then you've got to work out, what do I do now?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. There's so much strategy. There's so much strategy involved in this type of business, especially when you get to a dense inventory level. I find it really interesting what you said there, Zaheer, about that understanding of knowing when stock is dead. We talk about that, absolutely, but let me just paint a picture for people on that. I think as humans, as people that may have not been in business for a long time, if you expect to sell something at £30 and there's like a £2 loss on it, people get frustrated and they get focused on that £2 loss. But what they don't look at it and say, even if there's a £2 loss, well, you're actually getting 25 back. That 25 is coming back, but they see it as a full loss of the 30. It's like, no, I've lost the money. No, you're recycling that money. And then the next deal, you might make up that.
You might look £6, right? On your next product.
Yeah, absolutely. So never be ashamed of selling at a loss. That is inventory. We're going to talk a lot about inventory in this group over the next 12 months. It's going to be the biggest focus of Ecom in a Circle, talking about inventory management, how you guys, can be facilitated by doing what Zaheer has done, and Johnny and people like that, where you can take that kind of side hustle, extra business to be able to scale it up. We're going to make it possible, or as possible as give people the opportunity, I should say. It's not a magic wand. Sorry, I don't want anyone saying that. Give people the opportunity to be able to look at areas like that within their business. So watch this space for that. Just quickly, Jess said he's a packing robot, and a friend has suggested this channel to them, been selling on eBay, and how they can start on Amazon, mainly buy off suppliers. Which Amazon apps would be good? I have Keeper at the moment. So Jeff, drop me a message, join the Ecom in a Circle group, and obviously just find me, drop me a message, and then I'll make sure I can give you the details on that about getting started. But obviously just the group resources, I'll give you a good list of resources and things for sure. But always make sure as much as possible that you join these lives at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, because they're so motivating, they're so helpful, you know, especially if there's big changes. We don't always do seller interviews, sometimes it's just what's going on Amazon. So, you know, that's what I say, join the lives as much as possible. So yeah, he said, okay, that's good, thanks. So going back to diversifying into the business and a couple of areas, there's so much stuff there to unpick on what you've said, Zaheer. It's like golden nugget after golden nugget. Firstly, let's talk about the diversification, because again, just to clarify, at heart, you know, at the base, you're a reseller. Yeah, but you do have a percentage of your own products, essentially, where you kind of import those products and you sell across the different mediums. So tell us a little bit about this blew my mind earlier, guys. So we're not going to go into specifics what Zaheer sells or anything like that, but you do sell within a niche area, and because of the niche area that you sell in, even though you've been doing this since 2000, you only started Amazon FBA this year.
Yes. So
what impact that had on your business?
Yeah. So basically, we've always been merchant fulfilled. I think it's more of a thing that you feel more in control, if that makes any sense. It's like, my stock's with me. I know where my stock is. Nobody can take it. So it's all these things go through your mind, being merchant fulfilled, or it won't get damaged by Amazon. You know, that was mainly because a lot of the stuff we sell is very fragile in boxes and stuff, and the boxes are very important to people. So you always think to yourself how those products are going to be handled, or will, you know, and then the refund rates, because we all know Amazon is 100% on the customer's side.
Yeah.
If you ever think that the Amazon's not, you're in dreamland. You know, we've seen it you'll see it yourself. If you have a problem, Amazon sort it out for you immediately. So if they're going to do that for yourself, they're going to do it for every other customer as well. They treat the customer like king and queens. You know, they I have to say that their service for customer is unbelievable. You know, there's no other company out there in the world that's as good as that. So all this time we thought, okay, we're just going to do merchant fulfill because we can control that. So we can control if somebody, let's say if we sell a piece of clothing that we import, let's say we sell that, somebody uses it at an event that they go to, or a party that they might be going to, and you can tell they've worn it and they've got a stain on it or anything like that, send it back. Amazon are just going to refund them. Goes into your infillable inventory, sits there for 30 days, turns up, and then like Matthew once said, that he's got piles and piles of boxes of stuff that he needs to go through from Amazon returns. We have the exact same thing. Honestly, I can literally see to the right of me right now, there's about 40 boxes there.
Yeah, everyone's got it, Zaheer. Don't worry. I think I need to set up a support group for it and call like everybody's corner of shame, like an AA type thing, because everyone's got it. I mean, we have thousands of pounds worth of stock. Absolutely.
Yeah, easily. That we just don't know what's going on, right? We just don't know what's going on with it, but we know it's there, and we know one day in our life we will get there. We just don't know which day of our life it will be that we will get to open it. So we thought to ourselves, okay, we're going to control all this ourselves, even though that there were FBA sellers on the products we sell. You know, like I said to you, that we're effectively a reseller, very much like Matthew. You know, we'll buy products from wholesalers and we'll sell it, and we'll come off other people's listings and we'll sell them on them. And we would always price ourselves that we would be very close, or we would beat the FBA price as much as we can. And that's how we just continued. I then came to the idea, well, went through a bit of a slow phase after Christmas. It was after Christmas. We had a fantastic year last year, our biggest ever year, again, 7 figures. And it hit like a roadblock. And I was just sat down, and we were really, really quiet, and we were wondering what's going on. And then I was just looking at all the listings, just going through them all, and we weren't on many of the buy boxes at all. And even if we were like on some of the products, now we were nearly £3-4 cheaper than the FBA seller. And usually that's enough of a margin to get you the buy box. And we weren't getting the buy box, and obviously we weren't getting the sales. And then I made the decision that we're going to have to change what we do, albeit that it has been successful. Again, we talked about changing and understanding when things change. If you live in one mode all the time, you're just going to get swallowed. You need to be able to understand there is a problem and we need to change something to fix this problem. However hard it might be or however simple it is, it needs to be done. And then we made that decision that 90%, if we can, of the resale items that we are going to do is we're going to do them FBA. If there isn't an FBA seller and we know we can make more money by keeping it with us, then we'll do it. But if not, if there's even one FBA seller and he's at crazy price, we have to be FBA on that item from now on. So we started that. I think it was around about end of January. And honestly, ever since that, I never looked back. I actually feel like since 2013 that we've been on Amazon is why on earth did I not do this earlier? You know, it's like somebody like opened a new door, and you thought before that Amazon was fantastic, and until you do FBA, you don't understand how fantastic this can be. You know, and you can't believe as well that this situation, this thing that can help you, is open to everybody. Every person watching this video, the same tools that I'm doing in terms of sending it into them, and they're doing everything for you. All of you can do it. Every one of us can do it. And that, you know, when you think of it like that, you know, yeah, fine, we have less hours for our packers that we do here, but we've just moved their hours to do something else. And don't get me wrong, we don't use a prep center. So now the time that they were using to pack items for the merchant fulfilled items, they're now used to prep for FBA. So they're still getting their hours in. So it's not like we've had to reduce a bit of staff. But you know, the way it's going, I'm probably gonna have to hire more staff to do the FBA prep.
Well, this is it. The opportunity that you've opened, and by the way, we're not going to talk figures or anything like that, but hopefully you won't mind me sharing the percentage, the difference it's made to your business this year, last year, just by doing nothing but adding FBA. You said 35% increase.
35% increase, which is in my terms, in terms of like increase on a yearfold or whatever, is unbelievable. You know, and it was just by changing the factor of me doing it or them doing it. You know,
and I think what's also interesting is as well, you said obviously, you kick yourself, you wish you'd done it previously, but I also think there's such a thing as Amazon fatigue in this business, where you've been doing the same thing for so long. People, I don't know, whatever it is, people get frustrated and brought down by the system, or you know, everybody tries to do everything all at once. Right, I'm going to set up an Amazon business, I'm going to do FBA, I'm going to do merchant fulfilled, I'm going to use a prep center, I'm going to do you know, I'm going to sell on eBay, I'm going to sell on Etsy, everyone tries to do all of this at once, where variety is the spice of life, and it's important to diversify. But we talked previously a lot about this, and especially with someone like Luke Dugan, you specialize in one area, you get that right, then you move on. Otherwise, you know, I'm not saying you can't grow, you know, just by doing it all at once. Of course you can. But at the end of the day, it just means that you've become just an expert in that area. And then the next area that you can move into, it's exciting, it's new, it's growth. When growth is needed within your business, you hit, like you said, a period of stagnation. Whereas if you'd have been doing FBA 7 years before, what's next after that kind of thing?
Yeah, or maybe, you know, like you said, into if I was doing FBA all that time, because FBA is very time consuming. That is for sure. You know, you gotta the projecting of how many units are going to sell and stuff like that. That takes time, working out where the inventories, you know, how much you need to send every day. We have FBA going out every single day now. Where you know, and it's the sort of thing that you think to yourself, if I was doing FBA that many years ago, would I have got everything else right? Or would I have made those mistakes? And you know, like we've got our own stuff that we import and get made abroad. So those things, what we want to do going forwards is maybe create a brand. I know you've done a brand, and I knew a few of your people that have come on, have done brands. It's something that interests me so much,
Yeah.
and then again, look again, even though the figures that I'm hitting now, that's without the brand.
Yeah.
That's without the brand. It's me listing off somebody else's items. So in my view, is the next step for me is to create the brand and get that out there, because I think that's really important. And we discussed it earlier, that the way Amazon is moving is they don't want this whole 300 people on one listing anymore. I don't feel like that's the sort of avenue that they're looking to have anymore. Then because that's eBay, isn't it? You search for something, there's absolutely loads of listings.
Yeah.
They want it to be nice and tidy and easy and quick for you to be able to find that product. And the only way that they can do that is by making sure that there's more brands registered and that you are able to find your product a lot quicker. And that's one thing that we want to work on, hopefully in the next 6 months after Q4 finishes, because and I know on Q4, you try to do anything, it's a bad idea.
Yeah, you never start anything new in Q4 unless you're starting from scratch.
Yes.
Then it's a great time.
Which is a brilliant time to start as well, don't forget. But at the same time, if you are starting in Q4, don't get disheartened in January, February when it's not like that, because you've got the way we always see it is that you have 3 quarters to just stay alive, and your 4th quarter you live. That's what we always say, is that because of good, it's seasonal sort of stuff that we sell. So we don't sell any groceries or everyday items. It's like people impulse purchasing or gifts for people like that. So we're mainly like when there's birthdays or Valentine's days, there's certain sort of holidays that happen, but Christmas is the biggest for us. So we always say, can we get to Christmas? And if we can get to Christmas, then we get to live for another year. And that's simple as that, really. But if somebody starts in Christmas, just make sure you're not disappointed when February, March time comes. Because you might start in Christmas and think, oh my God, I'm going to chuck in my job and forget, you ring your boss, I'm not coming in tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Tread with caution. Now go. We always say go as long as you can before you even think about taking that step. As big, as big as frustration or as tiring as it may be, you keep that stable income for as long as you possibly can, because when we talk about this, not just you losing your wages, you're also taking from your business at that point as well. So, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. And, we talked about that previously. We'll talk about that as long as these lives continue, because it is so tempting. It's so tempting. But these are what these series of lives are for over the next, 6 to 8 weeks in the run up of Christmas, to be able to give people that level of motivation, to give people that level of, what can be achieved. This isn't a Del Boy business. People can build multi-platform, multi-7-figure businesses. And the other amazing thing, so here, like we said, only started FBA this year, and you still only sell in the UK as well.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. So we used to sell in Europe.
And no brands. It's crazy.
No
the amount of growth over the next 2 years for your business will be phenomenal.
God, yeah. All thanks are to God for helping us as well. I'm quite religious as well, so I always have a belief in God to help me. But yeah, we used to sell into Europe, and then Brexit overnight. I think we must have turned off maybe £300,000 worth of turnover. Overnight. It was shocking, and it was like the worst thing I ever wanted was Brexit, because I thought that it was going to totally hinder us so massively. Our second biggest market was Germany, and it used to be like the German people used to love our products, and it's like it was amazing, and it was like you never understood and then I went to some trade fairs in Germany as well. That's how much I fell in love with Germany, because I thought this is brilliant, they love us, and overnight that disappeared. And then obviously We got banned in France. I'm still currently banned in France because of Brexit. What happened? We sold about 80 packages, and we sent them to France. Then they had the lorry, when they stopped all the lorries moving.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But the parcels weren't moving. All those 80 people in France complained to Amazon to say that we paid this guy. The parcels are not moving. They thought obviously metrics went not only down, but you have 87 A to Z claims. You might as well live in a dreamland to think you're getting coming back from that.
No.
As much as I've tried to explain to them, they don't want us, because all they see is they tell it on 87 A to Z claims. That's not a good idea to reinstate him. And the worst thing to add to all of it, that was all of those 87 parcels were delivered to them after they all got their money back from A to Z claims as well.
Yeah, I know. It's you got to roll with the punches, unfortunately. But what I'll say, and I'll say this to anyone watching, especially in cases of suspension, it is about being relentless, guys. It's, Amazon want you to give up. If you keep going, I have seen accounts come back from the dead that I never thought, I thought there's no way back for these people, kind of manipulation cases and things like that. And they've got them back because they didn't give up.
Yeah, there's some really good services out there as well, Natalie, that can help you with appeal letters and stuff. I don't like to mention anybody, but I know 2 or 3. That they have like protection schemes. I think Buybot Pro might do.
Buybot Pro, 100%. Yeah, feel free. Big fan of Buybot Pro.
One that I subscribe to, who's been having a big lawsuit with Amazon. They're quite big. I've looked at her templates. Don't forget, guys, if you ever join any of these things, you can look at the templates. You can even write them out so you've got them for future. A sort of thing. And the templates are not just copy and paste. We always have to remember that they're not
build your own system.
Yes, you have to they're just reference. To get you into. But you are 100% right. There's never the end. We're still every couple of months when I sit down, I do think I'm going to try France again.
Do it. Yeah, but then it's what I said to you earlier. I think ever since we've been exposed, in the last 18 months to selling in the US, I was so excited when EFN 2.0 came back in, because I was thinking, right, gateway back to Europe. Here we go. France, Germany, Italy, the marketplaces over there. But then when I dipped my toe into the American market, it's like Alvida Semper. Sorry, for me, the European markets, when you look at it in a comparison, USA versus Europe, and don't get me wrong, Matthew Wright, Johnny, they are making a killing in Germany at the moment. If you can get past those bottlenecks, because most people won't, they won't go past them. They won't.
I'm currently at a bottleneck, which I'm hopefully can get in touch with Matthew.
Yeah, but if you can
about the Lucid stuff.
Lucid,
we know that there's things that we need to do. There is a lot of, I think Germany's the second best marketplace in Europe.
Absolutely.
And if you can get into it, it's huge.
It's huge.
And then after we do that, and then, or even before that, I've been speaking to you about it as well, is that we want to bring, once we've done the brand, we want to maybe take the brand to America.
100%. Knowing what you sell and the market that would be available, to you in the US market, it would be, you got to look at it from that point of view. Germany, phenomenal market. But at the end of the day, it's a different language, different communication system, whereas US, it's plug in and go, essentially. Speak English, communication. There are American cousins, essentially, very similar buying habits, behaviors, everything like that. So, my love affair with the US continues, absolutely. But
we sold a doll once, a doll into Germany, and got a response saying, "Why doesn't the doll speak German?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
yes, of course, yeah.
Like, you bought it from England.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Yeah, and then returned it. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's like, okay, right, you
Yeah.
bought it, you knew you were buying it from us in England, but you want it to speak German.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's always the way. It's always the way. That's why you've always got to make sure. And of course, the translations as well from the European market via EFN as well. What something might mean in English may mean something completely different in Germany. And if it's just a translated, a straight, not a specialist translated by someone who actually speaks German, that can cause problems as well. But like I said, whatever way you look at it, there's so many different angles for people even now, guys. So if you feel that your business is at that point where maybe things have been the same for a little while, you're happy with your processes, you're happy with the things that you've got in place, it's time maybe to look at a different platform, or even a different marketplace within the platform that you already sell, or a different geographical location. There is always options available to you. Don't feel rushed to have to do them all at once. Specialize, get good at what you're doing, and then you can expand out from there. And that's obviously what you've done, throughout the past sort of 20 odd years, Zaheer. I want to quickly go. I'll just quickly say some comments. Sack 1806 said, "Great insight. So glad to hear from such an inspirational person. Thank you, Zaheer, for your time and knowledge." Jonathan ages ago said, "I've late. What have I missed?" Sorry, I think you've probably caught up by now, but obviously you can go back and watch the replay when it goes onto YouTube. Which Cindy clarified. Thanks for that, Cindy. Andre said, a bit of FOMO going on here. Can we also know what he sells? Feel like we're being left out. Sorry. No. You don't give away the personals. Cindy also says, Mrs. Prime's joined us via YouTube. Are you going to join the Elite Sellers Academy to learn all the tips and tricks on how to build a brand?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be looking at it. I'll be in touch with Natalie, and I'll probably drop you a message as well.
We are definitely going to going to be talking about that, because it really gets me excited talking to people about the areas that they can diversify into. I was talking this morning, I was like, yeah, but you haven't even got a brand yet. You haven't built the brand yet. You don't sell in the US. I get excited for other people, because opportunity and possibility just excites me so much, and it's just amazing to be able to see good people, nice people building great businesses. And coming back to what you said earlier, which I want to pick up on, is that your faith is so important to you, and how it fuels you, and it's part of the reason why you wanted to do this as well. So when you come to setting your goals, or when it comes to knowing what you can achieve, I'd imagine that that's such a bedrock, such a foundation in your decisions that you make, and the faith that you put in yourself and your business.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's with everything that we do. I truly believe that everything is only because what God has given me. And he's given me the tools and the ability and the knowledge in my head, and then he's told me, go use it. It's not the case of that, that he just gives you everything and it happens as a magic, click of the fingers. Nothing happens without your input. Always remember that. You've got to put the work in. There's no magic, like you were saying earlier on, a magic wand. There is no magic wand. Nobody's going to do this for you. You have to be able to put the time and effort into it, and the benefits are there when you are. But in everything I do, so it's like we had a delivery 6 months ago where we were only supposed to get 10 of an item. Okay, and these items are about 150, 160 pound cost for one. They unfortunately somehow sent me 500 of them. Okay, they had no knowledge of it, nothing. I could have kept my mouth shut and took 500 of these at 160 pound each and slowly sold them, kept the money and thingy. But my belief, my religion doesn't allow me to do that. I rang the supplier up. I said, look, you've sent me these these like little figures that we had, like a little resin figure, and you sent me that. I want you to know that your stock's here, so you're not trying to find it, And he said, take it all for half price.
Amazing.
He goes, I would have lost it anyway. He goes, I would have lost all the money. He goes, because you called me and you were honest, you know, and that's because of my religion, because I believe that if I had done something like that, that, you know, that the money that I would have earned from that wouldn't have been permissible to me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't use it, would be wrong. I've then now got lots more stock for half the price I would have paid for it. I took it anyway because I knew we would sell it. And also, more than that, that relationship I have with that supplier now is so much better.
Of course.
So that when we do have a problem, I ring him up and I say to him, this is broken or this has happened. He won't even question me, because he knows that this guy just handed me all these things back or told me about all these things. He's not going to be lying to me.
Yeah.
So that's very important as well. The trust that you can build up with your suppliers.
Oh, absolutely. And I find what really interesting there is it's kind of this circle of trust. Essentially, is I see so many people in these in communities, in you know, in the entrepreneur world, where they will do something that will give them such a short-term gain, and it might be you know, that it makes them a lot of money or whatever, but in a short term, but ultimately it's going to come crashing down, or you know, it's not going to work out in the end, you know, for various different reasons. And if you can adopt that practice to everything that you do in business, you know, if you can adopt that practice, you will only come out on top. You know, they say nice guys finish last. Well, they don't in business, especially when it comes to building relationships and looking for that long-term gain. There are people now that you can just tell, you know, you're not going to be in business in if you carry on, you're not going to be in business in 5 years. Whereas Matthew, Johnny, Cindy, Hayden, you know, all the people that are watching, anyone else, you do it honestly, you do it right. And, you know, we'll be doing this for the rest of our lives because we enjoy it. We love it. You know, you talked about your dad, bringing him in, you know, at a later stage. It gives you the opportunity. You wouldn't jeopardize that. Why would you?
No, I kind of run my life by one saying that my dad taught me when I was younger. He says, before you do anything bad or anything that you think that might be bad, if that thing could cause a loss of sleep, or if somebody would be knocking at your door at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, don't do it.
Yeah.
He goes, if anything you do in your life, if it causes you a loss of sleep, there's a reason why it's making you cause a loss of sleep. Or you're worried that somebody's going to be knocking at your door 2 o'clock in the morning saying, where's my money? Or where's this? Or what have you done? Or let's just even say it's the police. Anything that you're going to do, if it could involve those two things, stay away from it. And that's what I do with everything, every business deal I do, or I get offered. The industry we're in, we get offered fakes of the things, you know, it's so rife out there, you know. And you think to yourself, you know, the fake's half the price, I could sell it for this much. But we haven't been in business for this long. The only reason we're here, and we're still here 22 years later, after a boy who went to university and decided that this is what he wants to do, and that he was going to hopefully become something doing this. Why am I here 22 years later? Is because I'm a trustworthy person. And I work the right way. I work with ethics and an understanding of being a nice human being. And that is the most important thing, I think. If you can be a nice human being and you can get to the end, then that's good, right? There's a quote from Michael Jackson. I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. And he goes, if you're born being loved and you die being loved, everything everything else in between can be dealt with. And those are such amazing words, because I think to myself that, you know, that when I leave, as long as everybody's remembered me for the good things, everything that we all don't live perfect lives, but we can all deal with our middle parts. But let's try and make sure that our beginnings, our endings are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I find really fascinating with yourself, Zaheer, in particular, is obviously, like I said, the faith that we've spoken about, your family, your wife, your children, your dad, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, everyone that we spoke about earlier, even if they're not family, you refer to them as family as well.
100%. Yeah.
And
like my warehouse manager here, His name's Rafal, and he's come from Poland, and his first job was with a big retailer that sells clothes, and then he left them and then came to us, and he's always said that, because that was his first ever job. So he left Poland when he was like 17, so he came over by himself to to make money to send home and stuff like that. And he's always said that you guys, and we are always try and treat him as a member of family. I always say that you're part of the team. You're not just part of it. Just work for me. You work so that I can make money. So why would I not look after you? And like you said, isn't it? It's not just about having to be blood. You don't have to be blood to have a family. You can, sometimes your friends can be very close to you, and it's just about making sure that if you need that help from anybody, you can go and ask for that help. Like you said, like it doesn't need to be just your internal family members.
No, absolutely. And I also get the impression that building a legacy is really important to you for those people in your life.
Yeah, I think for me, it's for my children.
Yeah.
It's because I've seen what my father's built for me.
Yeah.
And if I always say, even if I can do 10% of what he achieved, I could die as a happy person, hopefully, God willing. But because he came with nothing at all, and with what he succeeded. And if I could do that, even 10% of what he's done, and then hand it over to the kids, and and whatever they choose to do with it, Natalie, that's their thing, right? They can sell it, it'll collapse. You don't know what's going to happen, but that's not for me to worry about, right? I have to just get it to a certain point.
Exactly.
And then we'll see what they decide to do with it then.
And there's no greater thing that you can pass down to your children apart from wisdom. I always talk about this when I spoke at my dad's funeral. I don't want to bring it down here, but my dad was an older father. He had a younger family later in life. And, one of the greatest things that my dad gave me, I always talked about having an older dad and the benefits. Yes, I lost him sooner than I should have done. That was a massive not benefit, obviously, of having an older parent, but the benefit of the wisdom of the life that he lived, that he imparted down to us, is something that you can't pay for that. You can't bought. And that's obviously what's happened with your dad as well. But let's make it clear, guys, this has happened for Zaheer because he took action, and you did it with the same tools and ability as anyone else, as starting out with anyone else as well. Yes, you had that support and foundation of support, which is amazing. But yeah, you were packing from home, same as everyone else.
Yeah. But I really say that this show has helped me fantastically. It's like even going back to multi-platforms that we were talking about earlier. So we last year started on OnBuy.
Yeah.
And that was only because Matthew mentioned it. We were watching a video, me and Zoe, and we were watching it at home in the evening, and we heard the word OnBuy, and we were like, "What's that? I've not even heard of that." And it was Matthew that mentioned it, and then we thought, "Oh, so there you are. That's somebody else. That's now so Matthew's indirectly improved my life."
Yeah.
And it's these little things that we can do to help everybody, which makes it absolutely fantastic. Look, we're all Amazon sellers. We're all one type of family in a way. We're all trying to do the same thing. And if it's the sort of thing that anybody who doesn't want to do it permanently or as a full thing, that's also okay. You don't need to do it full time if that's not what you want to do, and you want to, like we always said, that the side hustle part of it, this is the perfect side hustle. If you want to do anything, I would always say to anybody who's working, if you had some spare time and some spare cash, believe it or not, Natalie, even when we do I've only started doing online arbitrage since I started watching you.
Cool.
I never did it. And then I tried it a few times. I saw Matthew do, when he showed one of those maps of where he's all traveling to.
Yeah.
We made a map, and I spent a whole day driving around picking up some audio equipment, and then I sold it all, and I was really happy. But my God, it was hard work. And it was, I thought to myself, how do people do this every day? Just drive around, go to different shops, picking things up.
Well, I think
we made lots of money doing it. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. It was
Yeah.
you get the right product. You get the right product, and you're willing to put the effort in of traveling to the different cities to go pick it up everywhere. You can make a really good money.
Yeah, but it's so interesting actually, because at the end of the day, and that's what we always talked about from the retail arbitrage point of view, it doesn't suit everyone. It might not be the right time in your business. It might be something extra that you can add into your business. It might give you that extra option. You might be someone that's fully outsourced within your business. You've got that spare time to be able to go out and do that and develop that side of that business. Don't ever think that you fit in a box, guys. Don't ever think it's a predetermined idea. I guarantee you there's been over 70 people that have watched this video live today, and there'll be hundreds more that watch it in the future. None of you will have one business that is exactly the same. Even though we're all Amazon sellers or we're eBay sellers, none of you will have one business that's exactly the same. And I can teach somebody something. I can teach 200 people, and those 200 people will not do it exactly the same. That's the beauty of it.
That's like me and you were discussing about people knowing what you sell. And we were discussing, if it makes a difference if people know what you sell. Well, we could both be selling the same item, and I might be able to sell mine and you might not be able to sell yours.
Yeah.
It's all about it. Like you said, every person's business is different. We can both have the same items and we could even both be at the same price.
Yeah.
But it's the little minute details that you need to work on. Even just to tell your viewers, talking to Natalie today, we were just having a conversation about something that I'm not doing in my business, and she was gobsmacked. It's because I don't spend any advertising on Amazon. I spend all my advertising budget on Google with Google Shopping, and Google Shopping is getting discontinued soon, so it's moving to Google Performance Max. So I spent some time about teaching myself via YouTube videos again how to do a Performance Max campaign. I followed some American guys who are really big in it, so I watched their videos and learned how to make a Performance Max campaign for our Shopify website.
Yeah, this is really interesting, guys, for anybody that's in the Shopify space. So Johnny, we're not in the Shopify space. Johnny, Matt, if you're watching this, guys, this is something you guys need to know for sure.
Yeah, so basically, we were spending lots of money in the Google Shopping, but now obviously Google Shopping Google have said that they will discontinue the Google Shopping platform in the next 3 to 4 months. So anybody who's doing any Google Shopping ads, you need to start moving to Performance Max now. Because the way the Performance Max works, it takes at least 4 weeks to get metrics and work out the system of where it wants to spend your money. So basically what it does is you give it a budget, and you can still tell it to put all of your money to shopping. But what it wants to do is it wants to put it across all of the Google products. And then it will automatically, with the AI, work out which channel is it not worth throwing your money at. So it will automatically create videos for you. It will make videos for your items, post them onto YouTube for you without you doing anything. It will do all these things for you, and it's shocking what it can do for you. I was watching, they made this video, and I was like, I said to Zaheer, did you make that video? Or did we get somebody to make that video for us? And Google made it. I was like, okay. So, this is the way that they want to go around now. So they'll get all of your product images from your websites, create videos for you, post them onto YouTube ads. They'll do everything for you. So this Performance Max campaign is huge. You just need to be able to.
Someone is at the warehouse.
I apologize for that. And
wow.
Yeah, so the Performance Max campaign is going to be huge in the retail side. If you've got Shopify, I would say that's probably huge to do. Also with OnBuy, which we've learned also, we're not too busy on OnBuy, but it's a ticking over situation. But
it's an income stream, right?
Yeah, I believe if you don't do £500 a month of sales on it, I might be wrong about the figure. It might be just slightly higher or something, but it's around about that region, because I think we only did like £463 on it last month. So it's not a busy thing for us. And because we did that, they waived the monthly fee to be on OnBuy. So that's massively important to a lot of people who might be watching who have a Shopify website or have just an Amazon website and you want a second stream, but you're worried about the additional charges, you won't have any charges. They only charge you for when you sell the product like eBay does,
Right.
but they don't charge you to list them, and they don't charge you any subscription fees to be part member of OnBuy if you don't get the amount of sales. Just make sure you sign up to their first tier program, not the professional program, because that offer is not open to the professional program. It's only so I would say if you're over the limit and you know every month you're getting those orders in, then go to the professional program, because obviously they push your products and you're getting those sales anyway. But until you get to that threshold, get yourself on the standard program. It's free. It's going to open some new avenues for you, because OnBuy are doing a lot of advertising online, so people will start going on.
I'll tell you what, they always pop up. They're always there. They are always there.
Yeah. So I know that they're putting a lot of money into them. I know it's new and it's still thingy, but you do see a lot of people coming on OnBuy, and a lot of Google searches are starting to show OnBuy. In the Google shopping tabs, you will see that OnBuy seems to appear quite a lot. But the whole idea of having it free is fantastic. I think that's brilliant, and it's a brilliant marketing move from them as well, isn't it? Really, to get more people onto the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what we say, guys, don't, oh God, my charger's not plugged in. I'm literally about to cut off. Rookie mistake there. Been doing this years, still forgets to plug in.
Saving energy costs. Don't lie, Natalie. You're just saving energy costs.
I know we were having this conversation earlier about warehouse staff and how we're going to save.
Jumpers.
Yeah. Jumpers. And actually, do you know what's here? There's one rookie you have made there for sure, is by getting rid of that first floor. If they'd have been running up and down the stairs, they won't moan about being cold this year.
Yeah, they would have said it's too hot.
Yeah, exactly. So that would have kept the warmth in place, definitely. So Johnny said we switched over last week to the Google Performance Max. Sorry, I don't even know what it is. I've not even heard of it before today. But what's really interesting is, guys, if you are watching this, wherever you are in your business, yes, there are tough times coming. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat that or anything. It's going to be tough. But everything that we've spoken about here, yes, Zaheer's been in the game for a long time, but as we've already said, started with the same resources, same opportunities as everybody else. But just think about some of the things we've discussed, different platforms, different geographical locations, these type of things that you've not even heard of, essentially OnBuy, another potential income stream as well. These, building a brand, that type of thing. Why wouldn't you do that moving forward? Why wouldn't you? There's never been a better opportunity to be able to do it. This is the future. And most of you guys will, even yourselves are here as well. You're not brand registered on Amazon. As soon as you dive into that, like what you've just been talking about there from a Google point of view, the innovation that's coming in the future, Amazon's on board with that. The statistics, the information, the extra benefits that you can access through being brand registered on Amazon is a whole different level. It's a whole different level again. The insights, the information that it gives you to be able to propel your business forward with these innovations, and the same with Google as well. It's never been, for want of a better word, easier. And I say that word very lightly. But you guys know what I mean by that by now. It's never been easier. Let me change that. It's never been more accessible.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the better word. Phil says, bravo, sir. I think that's when you were talking about, that level of trust and honesty that we were talking about earlier. Interesting session. I think this was a while ago, so Noreen's had to leave, but obviously you come back and watch the replay when you come back and watch the replay. Cindy's just asked, how do you find Etsy? How is that for you as a platform?
Okay, so with Etsy, we actually have had 2 goes at it.
Mm-hmm.
At the first go, what we did, we launched Etsy. We put all of our products on that we import from abroad, and we make abroad and we import them, put them all on. then we saw other sellers on Etsy selling stuff which is not handmade or not made by anybody, and we thought to ourselves, oh, how are they selling them? They're selling them. Maybe means we can sell them too. We got to about 10,000 sales on Etsy. We got their badges, their really professional VIP badges, got everything. It was going absolutely brilliant. I would have never imagined Etsy to have gone as well as it did. And then suddenly one morning, the dreaded email from Etsy arrived. We've closed your account. And I was like, okay. And then I spoke to support. Why have you closed your account? Because you're selling products that are not manufactured by you. This is not a resale channel. You want to resell eBay out there. There's thinking Etsy is for handmade or products that are made by yourself or your company, or but they are produced for you. So we lost our Etsy account, which had all the sales on it, which obviously more sales, more more visible to everybody. We had absolutely fantastic reviews on there. They'd all disappeared. So then we relaunched again about 2 months ago. We did it all again. There are apps. If you have a Shopify website, if you go into the app section, you can actually get Etsy apps that let you push all your stuff that you select onto Etsy for you.
I think it's called does it begin with W? I can't remember the name of it.
The one that we're using is called Sellbrite.
Right. Oh, Sellbrite, yeah,
we're using that one, which again, I think we're if I'm right,
but that's only from your own Shopify. Not, it wouldn't push your Amazon listings.
No, well, I don't know, because I've not linked
one
it.
though.
There's probably one that can push everything, right? But we just moved from so you could have a drop down selection, and we click this channel. Are these listed onto Etsy? It'll say no. You just click one button and it moves the whole thing to Etsy for you. Immediately. So that's a lot faster for for the user that said how we find Etsy. So if you're thinking of doing that, see if you can get Sellbrite, see if it can link with your Amazon or eBay, because I've not done that side of it, but I know it does work with Shopify. And then you can move it all over. But this time we've only put the products on that we make ourselves. So
I was just about to say, presumably when you do start your own brand anyway as well, that will be an extra dynamic that you can add, because you just need to put your own brand on it.
That's it.
It's interesting. That happened to us actually as well, not with Etsy, but we used to sell very successfully back in the day, which I would say is more the upmarket version of Etsy, which was not on the high street. So we sold phenomenally successfully with them many years ago. Same thing happened, shut our account down because our goods were also available on our website as well. They weren't on Amazon, but they were available on the website, and they said no, not only the philosophy. Shut it down. Not the philosophy of the company. Oh, Noreen said she's still here, so couldn't tear herself away. April said, wow, never heard of that when talking about the Google Performance Max. So I'll tell you what's here. We'd love for you to come back at some point in the future and update us on that.
There's so many topics that me and you discussed that we haven't even been able to get to yet.
I know, but I'm so conscious of your time. I'm conscious of everyone else's time. I know everyone would agree with me. I sometimes get told off by these guys because they're like, no, keep talking. We could listen. And you are definitely one of our guests that I know I could certainly listen to for hours and hours and hours. Your wealth of experience is phenomenal. So
I am hoping to hopefully try and help as much as I can and be part of Natalie's team, and it would be fantastic to try and assist any of people whenever they want me, and whenever Natalie wants me back, I'm more than happy to come back.
And it's so generous of you, Zaheer. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But just before we go, I know we've already highlighted it. We've already talked about it a little bit in terms of, there is so much more for your business to be able to explore into. But where do you see yourself, in I know where you are in the short term, but in the medium to long term, where do you see, what does the future look like for you?
The first thing first, straight after Q4, we need to register a brand. I think that's my most important thing, next stage for us. I want to do a brand, and then we need to pick off in our heads if we're going to go for the US or we're going to go for Europe again. We're using EFN 2.0 anyway. So we're in Europe, maybe trying to work on a bit and try and get the German market back open. I think more than anything, I think where I want to take it to is just really, we have 1,500 SKUs right now. We have 500 of those 1,500 in FBA. I think what I want to do is hopefully in the next 18 months have 2,000 SKUs in FBA. That's what I want to do. It's a lot of time, a lot of work. But if you don't set yourself goals, that's the problem. You've got to have a goal. You've got to have a dream. You've got to see yourself where I want to be. I don't want to ever get to a part where I'm away from the business, because I absolutely love it. It's my thing, you know, it's my thing that I literally sat in a house, in my house on the laptop, and I decided, you know, I used to, even before my dad's business, I used to work for the police. I was in the police for 5 years, you know.
Wow. We didn't even cover that.
Yeah. So what happened is when we were younger, my dad always used to say, go get jobs, go get a job. Don't rely on me. You need to understand that how to make money really. Because when you work with your dad, you're chilling, aren't you? You're oh yeah, I'm gonna go grab a sandwich, dad, and you come back half an hour later for a sandwich. When in the real world, in that half an hour that you got for lunch, you got to go grab that sandwich, come back and eat it in that time, right? Exactly. So you know, even before when you work in other places and stuff like that, I really enjoy what I've built. So I don't want to get to a level where I think that it can run without me. I want to be involved at all times. Maybe I think one thing I need to learn as well, I think massively important, is that I can't do everything. I think that's I've only my business has only grown when I've realized that. I think sometimes it's the scary thing about having to pay somebody else to do something that you can do. But the truth is, we're only human beings, and there's only so much we can do, right? So when there is an option out there that somebody can do for you, then why not you let them do it? You know, like that we haven't got a massive presence on social media right now. That's massive for us. We do many trade events to public, and loads of people that come to our trade events. They you know, events that we do. You know, we did an event last week. 150,000 people attended to this event, and they all kept asking me, "Are you on social media?" Now we have it on our flyers that we're on social media, but we don't update it.
Well, this is phenomenal as well, and by pure coincidence, it leads me into, you know, next week's guest. So make sure you tune in to hear Luke Roberts is going to be joining us, who is seeing phenomenal success with TikTok at the moment. So he's going to be talking about his TikTok shop, shop. I don't know. I don't actually know what it's called, to be honest, whether it's a store or a shop or whatever. You know, he's got a very specialist skill. You're in a very specialist niche area, which I'd imagine, obviously, the people that you sell to, like him, are very TikTok audience.
Oh yeah, we've got a TikTok channel. So you know, we hired a outside company to do social media for us. But when all of this sort of financial sort of mess was happening, we as a business sat down and we kind of just struck off what we can get rid of. But if you don't do that, we're not going to survive. The people that think that you can just keep on spending how we're already spending, we're in la land, because like you said, Natalie, I actually think we haven't seen the beginning of it yet. You know, I still think things are going to get a lot, and we're not trying to doom everybody to death. You know, we're not trying to say that, but just be mindful to understand that this isn't the time to go out and, you know, buy a 50,000-60,000 pound car right now. It's about buttoning down the hatches and thinking to yourself, do I need this right now? And
I think you're right.
And this is what we did with our business. It was hard to do, but we had to kill the marketing because it was costing us too much. So we were working out, well, okay, this marketing company is doing all of our social media for us, TikTok videos, everything was brilliant. It wasn't getting much audience traction though. And we thought to ourselves, either we cut the Google spend or we cut the social media. And we decided that we'll keep on with the Google because Google's giving us a return. We can see the return. So that's for something I would like to, in the next 18 months, hopefully if the economics get better, that we increase our social media presence again. We're going to be hopefully doing a lot more trade shows this year. So we only do 4 at the moment. We're hopefully next year, we plan to do 9. So we're thinking doing that. And then I think my biggest goal now for me in the next 18 months is I think US. I think that's where my heart lies. It's where I see it. It's, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos from other FBA sellers.
Yeah.
And predominantly most of these people are based in America. And when you sit down, and these are just people like me and you, Natalie, they're just normal run of the jaw people, right? And you hear the success that they can do, and you think that, well, why can't we have part of that? And like you said, thankfully you took the steps to do it.
Yeah.
And it's about being brave. Be brave. And
definitely. And sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. I publicly have declared 1 million times I'm never going to sell arbitrage again. And what happened? I started selling arbitrage. So I never say never anymore, because there's always a different opportunity, different angle. And, the US selling for us over the last 3 months has been a massive learning curve. It's different marketplace. Yes, we're closely connected. We sell the same type of products. Absolutely. But it's a different model. It's a different audience. It's a different system. You have to learn new things, and you cannot ever believe that you know it all. For us, Matt and I, the reason why we didn't take the decision lightly when we do it, because if you do something like that, you have to go in as though you're a beginner. Yeah. You can't go in saying, oh, I know everything and I'm going to be doing this in this period of time. We're slow burners. We start slow. We establish the business. We establish the margins, establish what we're going to do, and then we'll build upon it from there. And absolutely, that's the way we do it. Someone might do it differently. Someone might grow quicker. Someone, whatever. It has to be all individual. But most importantly, be humble. Never be, like I said, never think you're the smartest person in the room. And that's what I love about you, Zaheer. You are so humble. It just reeks from you. When you just said then literally, oh, well, I can do that too. And you're already doing it. And the fact is, it's just phenomenal. So thank you so much for sharing that. Just quickly before we go, Cindy says, this is such a great tip. Remember to register the website before you register your trademark. That's something we talk about in ESA all the time, because there's people out there that really do take advantage. As soon as you register the trademark, they go and register the domain. So buy the domain first, guys, for sure. Just seeing if there's any other questions. I know Johnny said about switching over to Google. I want to call it Google Max. Sounds better. Google Performance Max.
Yeah, sounds like Max, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely sounds better for sure. But Zaheer, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I'm really conscious of your time. So thank you for being so generous with it. We really appreciate that. Guys, please, please, please show your appreciation to Zaheer. This has been a phenomenal Never Mind the Buy Box. And I really do hope that it is, like I said, even if it just changes one person's mindset, attitude, that one golden nugget, something. I know it will. I've been doing this long enough to know. And when you speak to someone on a phone call in 2 years time, someone will say to you, oh, do you remember when you said that? And to you it's so inconsequential. You don't know that you've said it or whatever. They say, do you know what? That changed my business. That changed the course of my business. So I'm absolutely certain that
it actually reminds me of a guest of yours, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but there was a guy who's a multi-million seller, and he was and he's never dressed like really posh. He's like in a jumper. Do you know who I'm on about?
Yeah, Mark. It's Mark. Yeah.
Is it Matt? And he's really brash, isn't he? And he just says everything what he wants to say.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
When I watched you did a special with him once, and I watched that, and you know what? That particular show changed my life. I watched him, and I thought, because I think once he said something, and it hit me so hard. He goes, even if you make 50 pence on an item, but you make 1,050 pences, isn't that better? And that's what, and for me, because of margins being so tight in the industry that I'm particularly in, that changed my complete philosophy to my business, because I always used to be, I have to make a minimum of this, and I'm never going to go lower than this. And then once I watched him, and I thought to myself, that's a brilliant idea to think about it,
And
you make 1,050 pences, you're still making loads of money.
Honestly, you do not get much bigger than him, you know, in terms of, you know,
if anybody's not seen it, his shows, if Natalie can drop a link or something, his shows are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when we did that live and there was like 200 people on it or 150 people on it at the time, and people still quote that. Was 2 years ago. People still quote that.
The views have just been
now
going up on that video. I see the views on it all the time. It just keeps going up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, you know, one of our highest viewed videos for sure. But, you know, just a wealth of experience. But again, Mark started buying in Tesco's. And, you know, like I said, I'm never going to, what he wants to disclose when he's here, obviously, but where he was 2 years ago to even where he is now, it's 10x'd up again.
Yeah.
You know, it's phenomenal. I talk to Mark all the time. One of the benefits, I must say, of, you know, running a community like this, the people that you know get to network with. Hayden was talking about it earlier, a post in his group, that he said, oh, your circle and who you surround yourself with and things like that. I am so grateful and so fortunate to be able to talk to sellers like yourself, Zaheer, and everyone else that's watching, because entrepreneurship can be a lonely life sometimes, and to be able to create this network of people, I'm so thankful to be able to do that and to be able to just talk. And I don't know about Google Performance Max and things like that, and you know, sharing the knowledge and sharing it all comes back.
And thank you to you as well for doing these shows. You know, it's nice that you offer some things to all of us for free. It's massively important, you know, that you have that philosophy like me. Like, that's why I've done this show. I haven't been paid to do this show. I've completely come on to give my time because I want to help somebody else. Just the way you give your time up every week at 1 o'clock. Everybody keep that, remember the time, and tune in. Click the subscribe button. You know,
there we go. You can come back to here. Honestly, I'm rubbish at this stuff.
So click the little bell icon. It can notify you when it goes live.
A notification, a bell, or whatever. Thanks for that, Cindy. I think Cindy's posted Mark's video there. So anyone that hasn't watched that yet, oh my goodness, it's 3 hours long, that video.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic 3 hours though. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it's a long one, but if you haven't watched it, honestly, it was so eye-opening to so many people, as will this be video, you know, over time. There's no doubt about it, for sure. So Zaheer, honestly, thank you so much. We wish you continued success in everything that you do. I hope you enjoy the rest of Q4. I know it's going to be phenomenally successful for you. Lots of lovely comments there saying so. Thank you. But just thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience. It's all very much appreciated. Guys, I will see you next week at 1 o'clock. Like I said, spoiler alert, already said it. Luke Roberts is going to be coming on. A bit of a different dynamic. He's had a little bit of a rough time with Amazon since becoming full-time entrepreneur. So he found a different, a different platform for his niche area, which is going phenomenally well. And I know when he did a post a few weeks ago, everyone was super interested about that. So it's going to be another unmissable Never Mind the Bible. So that's next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So make sure that you join us for that. If you haven't already, as Zaheer has already said, please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please comment on the actual video, not the comment section, because it just helps with the algorithm, puts it out there and that kind of thing. So Zaheer, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.